Hello, YouTube land, and welcome to the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast, episode 41, the sequel, because we did this last week. I am your host, Dantes, and of course, joining me like always, Caleones. How you doing, Caleones?
Hey, how you doing, Dantes? How you doing, everybody? Hey, Sport, JJ Monster, LG Light Gaming. Well, this is gonna be. At first, it's gonna sound like a recap of the last one, which was kind of like a recap of the previous one as well. Because we kind of, or at least in my case, I was down in Florida on spring break vacation with the family, and the internet was awful. I don't know how many times I complained during the podcast, but it felt like. It was definitely probably. Dantes can probably agree with me. It was probably our worst or the worst one since the second one that we ever did. So yeah, so if we feel like we have to do a redo, do a do over on it, and that's where we're gonna be taking over. So this is gonna be 41 again. So Dantes, go ahead and take it away so we can get it started.
So, quickly, someone hit the dislike button. Can you guys find him? Whip his candy ass when you find him. Thank you very much. Find him in the chat. He should be somewhere hiding right now. But go ahead and click those like buttons. That's what we want. We need like buttons because then we'll be really sad. No, I'm joking. You guys can hit like or dislike, whatever you like. But anyway, let's do that rigmarole. I want to welcome everybody to the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast, episode 41, the sequel, right here at the Force In Unison gaming channel. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment so you can make these two crazy MFs happy. Also, remember, we do have a Nintendo podcast, which is this one, and it's every Saturday, right, Caleones? Every Saturday. Why I keep saying this date is because we changed a little bit of our schedule. So please go to the description box below because tomorrow it's going to be Force In Unison live instead of Tuesdays, right? Also, you can get this podcast on SoundCloud and iTunes for free. Rate us over there so you can show up some love. Also, we have a Facebook page. Once in a while we visit it, and it's called at Force In Unison Gaming. And finally, and Dantes says finally, go to chiguerosnews.com and give some clicks and love to my boy Caleones. With all that said, Caleones, are you ready? I said, are you ready? For the no one in attendance and the 11 people watching around the world, let's get ready for Reggie's Hot Topics of the Week.
My body is ready.
My body is ready and is wonderful. So, Caleones, what is the first piece of news in this week?
Well, before the first one, I'm just seeing over here that it's that guy 6969. He's talking about his soccer team is undefeated. So I believe that he's actually pretty happy that the Football Manager touch came out on the Switch yesterday out of nowhere. So that was something good, something unexpected, and I believe a game that's going to do pretty well, considering that one of the news is how well FIFA 18 has done on the Switch versus the other consoles. But the first piece of news that we have here is that Shinya Takahashi says Nintendo is doing research and development on a new system. Okay, so when people first heard that, they were talking about, okay, so it can't be. The Switch has only been out for a year, and they're already talking about a new console. They're working on a new system. Like, why are they doing this? Is it because they're not completely happy, even though it's selling all this and blah 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 blah. So yeah, a lot of people they overreacted to the announcement, but the truth is that yes, they're working on a new console because that's what they always do. You finish one, you start working on another one. So, do you think people should be overreacting, or was the reaction? Was it okay? Like, what do you think, Dantes?
Okay, so go to the two pieces of news after the fact because they kind of add some stuff that maybe Nintendo is thinking to do in the next Switch console. Go to the two pieces and we'll merge it into one huge discussion topic.
Okay, so then, the next one was going to be in this, like you said, it goes together. Nintendo has filed a new patent for portable screens communicating and interacting with each other. Portable screens, it means that, I mean, it could mean two Nintendo Switch screens, like, talking to one another, or it could be a whole new system where you have the two separate screens together. Um, and that this is coming from Bloomberg, and they're reporting that Nintendo has teamed up with venture fund to explore new tech for the Nintendo Switch. So those are pretty much the three separate news, which in a way, like you said, they go together on what Nintendo could be working on or looking at for the next console.
Okay, so like you said, they're already talking about the Switch and what is the successor of the Switch. And you have to remember, guys, every company has to go into R&D, research and development, for people who don't know. And basically what that does is every time they end the cycle of a new console, they launch the console, they're already doing research for the next one. That's always going to be the cycle. PlayStation is already doing it with their PlayStation 5. Xbox is probably already working, researching on what they're going to do with the next Xbox and what features it's going to bring. But you can see what each company is doing. What I mean with that is with Xbox, you see that they're moving to more of a game and services, more Netflix. So maybe the next system could be cloud-based gaming. I don't think so, but I'm just giving you an example where it's just a small box that you attach to your TV and you get all the gaming streaming. Maybe. I don't know. PlayStation, you can see that they're going to immerse more into their virtual reality, where possibly the headset plays a big part in the integration with PS5, where they have their own processor on the system itself instead of having a separator box, and then you try to reduce the cabling. But with the Switch, what they're looking is more interactive ways to play with the Switch, and I believe that's going to take a big part. And you can see that with Labo. Labo is kind of maybe a key area where you can see where Nintendo could be heading with their next console, where the next console may be more focused. If this Switch, one of the best features is ways to play with the Switch, the ways you can control games, the way you can interact with games differently, how you take the Joy-Cons, how you use the Pro Controller, how you stand the Switch. Maybe the next Switch, or whatever it's called, the Ultra Switch, the Super Switch, it could be that it's find more ways to play. Maybe it could be more games, the AR camera. Maybe each controller will have its own cameras where it can interact with a sensor where, you can have more realistic movements in the game. Maybe they'll develop a way to make the upgraded Joy-Cons where motion controls are really back on a big way, but really making the promise of motion controls where it's seamless, where you don't have to have any lag, anything to that extent. Maybe there's ways where you can take the next portable game and you can have like what we call multiple docks, where depending on what dock you play with, you can have a 4K experience. Maybe Nintendo will come back to the power game, but using this dock as being the one. So if you want to play the Switch normally, hey, that's fine. Play it normally, take it all to go. But if you want to have that experience that I think Nintendo sometimes miss, and again, no throwing shades, but God of War, you see that game, you see the power of the game, the graphics that game and that team has come up with in a game. You imagine a Zelda Breath of the Wild with those graphics, you'll be like, you'll be like, oh my God, yeah, I'll be like, oh, because I always, and Caleones, I always want a Zelda that looks really realistic. I imagine Witcher 3 type of graphics in the next Zelda. And I'm not a graphic whore. And Caleones knows this. I'm not a graphic whore. I'm always putting gameplay first forever. If I was a graphic whore, I wouldn't be playing the Switch. But my point is that maybe the way Nintendo gets that is where you have different docks where you connect them, and then they increase the power in a way that you can get those type of games. And yeah, maybe some games will be exclusive to a specific dock because they can, make it less weaker because they need the power to make it, look that good. But it's a way that you can have both the hardcore and the casual market come together, right? It's a way. So I don't know. So now I guess I'll let you speak to what you think Nintendo's working on, and then we can go back to what we would like to see in the next Nintendo Switch.
Okay, so when they, first thing I made the comment on Twitter, one of the things I made an offhand comment about how I already have, two, Nintendo Switches, and I can take advantage of, like putting two Nintendo Switches, screens together and kind of use them together in tandem. So that's, one of the first possibility with what they already have at this moment. But To me, the most important part is about Nintendo teaming up with venture fund to explore new tech for the Switch. So they're not only talking about the tech for the current version of the Switch, which is probably going to be out there for another 4 or 5 years, but also in preparation for the new Nintendo Switch. That or I think it's going to be it's probably Switch 2 because I don't think they're going to go away from the hybrid aspect and go into something else. I think this is going to stay for the next probably 10 to 15 years as they continue. So this is going to be the Nintendo home console quote unquote version, and they may have like a Switch Mini or something like that, for the 3DS or as a 3DS successor. But um, I believe that the possibilities is going to be two different screens on the Switch is going to be something like that. I mean, that we've been talking about, like you said, the docks. They already had them on the patents about how you can add additional power, the supplemental power to it. Maybe bump it up to 4K type graphics. Even though one of the things that I was and, like talking on the thread or on the chat with the folks is that like God of War, for example, PS4 Pro, very powerful system, but you either have the option to play 4K and 30 frames per second, or you have the power. I mean, or you have the option to play 1020, 1080p and 60 frames per second. So you
45.
I mean, so you don't quite have the 4K 60 frames. And I know they also have the rumors about the PS5, and they said, oh, they're going to be aiming for 4K 60 frames. But to me, that's not going to be something that you can achieve, especially with games like like God of War, for example. So if they do like a big Legend of Zelda game, maybe like a Breath of the Wild type game in 4K, it's still going to be 30 frames per second. It's not going to be 60. It doesn't matter how much supplemental power you add. The technology to do that is probably going to be another 10 years away, or or depending, because I mean, you got to think about the consumers, the people that Nintendo always wants to sell the system to, and they're not going to be selling a Nintendo system for $400, $500, $600. So it's going to be minimal. But I think the most important technology that they will have to come up with, if they're going to use that extra supplemental power to bump it up to 1080 60 or 4K 30 frames per second, is how it downscales over to either 720p or 1080p, depending on what type of screen then the next Switch is going to have. Because how it downscales from using the supplemental power to not using it, that's going to be the important part. Because if they can do it in a way that it's going to seem like two different games, and they would have to program it like two different ways, or if they find a way that it will downscale properly, then they don't have to program the game twice, because that's gonna take, I mean, double the effort and double the investment and all of that on it. So it's gonna be technologies that we are not really gonna see clear, but at the same time, with the venture fund, we're looking forward to it. We already have in next week Nintendo Labo, which is something completely unexpected. So they could also head that route and just try to come up with other things that they can add to it. About the two screens and going back to it, maybe like you said, you were talking about VR. So this is something else that they already have shown on the patents about the headset, how you can slide in the Nintendo Switch screen on it, and you can use it as a VR headset. The Joy-Cons are already they're ready for the motion sensing and everything like that. So the system, it's ready for the VR, except for the screen is not powerful enough to show the PSVR type graphics, and much less the Oculus Rift or or the Vive type graphics. So it's not ready for those. But this could be something else that they're slowly working into it with the next system. So I mean, who knows? With Nintendo, they have so many different possibilities, so many different things that they think about, and most of the time they completely surprise us, because it's things that we have never thought of, for for the better or worse, certain times. But yeah, it's I think, like you said, supplemental power, Maybe try to bump it up to something like 4K 30 with the additional power, or maybe like for the VR or the multiple screens if they want to come up with a console that uses the two screens together, or there's the true successors to the 3DS. So it's interesting, but um, a new Nintendo Switch, people don't expect to see it for another 4, 5, 6 years.
Yep. Yep. Maybe. Maybe we have to wait and see how long it will get. But I guess with that said, kind of we said our thoughts of what we expect. But now it's what we would like to see on the next Nintendo Switch, and I'll start, and then Caleones can chime in to finish the topic. One way I would like to see is, because admittedly, again, I'm not a graphic whore, but Nintendo, the Switch is on their power console. It's not. You see games like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and you know that game could be more, Caleones. You know that game could have been bigger. It could have been run more stable. You know the performance issues that game has, right? And honestly, what I'm looking from Nintendo in the next Switch is give me some stability on the games. Mario Odyssey, it's really, really well made, performs really well, 60 frames, and it's awesome. It's great. But again, the graphics are not as taxing on that game as Xenoblade Chronicles, a big game, open world game like that. Zelda Breath of the Wild had performance issues too, Caleones. It is admittedly great game, but admittedly it is not well polished in certain areas, which is surprising for Nintendo. Nintendo games are known to be as polished, and this generation has been the more that the Nintendo's like, well, we're not getting there like we typically do.
But with Breath of the Wild, you got to understand that development started on the Wii U and then moved over to the Switch, so that could be a reason why.
Could be, and that's fine. But admittedly, you know that there's been a lot of games that are not meeting the typical Nintendo seal of approval. That is a fact, right? In this sense, and which is fine. But it is because Nintendo is working with an underpowered console, right? So what I would like to see in the next console is have that dock, have that expensive dock for the hardcore for me that I'm gonna get guaranteed 1080 60. I'm not even asking for 4K. I'm asking for 1080 60 stable frame rate, great performance. Big worlds, the next Xenoblade Chronicles can take advantage of the next Switch and be a humongous Witcher type of great game, big open fields, right? But how you could achieve that is because it's hard to make a powerful game. You cannot play games like, let's just say, multi-plat games like, I don't know, Anthem. Give you an example. I don't know, right? You cannot play it because the Switch will never be powerful enough to handle a game like that, which is fine. But maybe there's technology in a way where the dock stays at home, and with your Wi-Fi, right? In a sense, you can stream a powerful game to the screen on your Switch, right? And you can take it. How? That means that the game would have to deal with Wi-Fi or using some kind of LTE, something to that on the Switch. Maybe the next Switch. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, but Nintendo's actually, they're already doing that with Phantasy Star Online Cloud. Phantasy Star Online 2 Cloud is actually a cloud-based game. So everything from the game is streamed from the internet down to the Switch. So it's an MMO RPG. Mm-hmm. So of course everybody already knows they have to be connected to the internet to play the game because it's an online RPG. Mm-hmm. But it's also a cloud-based RPG. So that's why they don't have to download the game. They can just connect to it and play it. So more or less what you're talking about.
And that could work, but the problem is with my idea, that idea I'm saying, is still needs some kind of LTE, something like that to connect to, because you want to be using it, right? But maybe somehow the LTE service is from the Nintendo itself, right? And they make a deal with AT&T or whatever, and they charge a small monthly fee where they can use AT&T because the only thing you're doing is streaming data, and AT&T. I don't know. I'm not an engineer, but my point to that is that that somehow Nintendo, the next system, needs to be powerful enough to not stay behind, because the PlayStation 5 is coming, Caleones. No matter what, the early specs rumors sound strong. The next Xbox is gonna come out soon after that. I'll bet you that. So I'm concerned that the Switch will be left behind the dust again, where they're not gonna get any multiplats again, because the console is not going to be strong enough to handle this type of games. That is the truth, Caleones. So they need to have a powerful console, but also they know that they made a big advancement being a portable game, having AAA type of experiences on the go, something that Sony tried for many years to achieve with the PSP and the Vita, but never were able to achieve. But Switch did it. But how can now Nintendo, to me, the next step is, how can we get those really good looking games, those God of War type of looking games on the Switch, but being portable at the same time. That's a tough concept. You make it portable, you can't make your console that strong unless you buy like my laptop, who weighs like 40 pounds, to make it portable but still have the power in it, right? It's tough. It's tough. I'm not, again, I am an engineer, but I am not. I don't work for Nintendo. My point is that I don't know how they figure out, but I think that's what I need to focus. But what I believe that they're gonna be the focus on, and I would like that too, is they're gonna expand on ways you play. Maybe the next Switch will have 2 screens, right, where you can touch screen. The rumors for the next Apple phone is that they're gonna have a clamp type of screen where the screen itself can clamp and make it almost like a flip phone again, but it's the same screen. It's just one phone, right? Maybe the next Switch will come up with some way that you have that clamp style screen where, again, because you have the dock in a way in Wi-Fi, now your Switch becomes your kind of like the Wii U, your tablet, and your Switch sits with you, but you don't have to dock it. It's streaming to the TV, so you get the power of the dock right there. But you're watching the game on the screen. But now you have a different way to play. You have 2 screens here, plus your screen over there, plus you have your dock streaming. So then there's a way that you can play. Now you connect that with Labo. To your point, maybe they can work with VR. Have the headset that connects to VR. If VR gets big enough, then Nintendo feels that they want to get in that game, or just make the consoles powerful enough they can do some VR, but it can't be the main point of the system. But that would be what I like to see. Keep improving and innovating in ways that you play with the system. Even though the Wii U was given a lot of shit, and it was a bad system, I'm not gonna deny it, but it still had good, fun ways to play. You play Luigi's Mansion, not Luigi's Mansion, the game from, it was Luigi's Mansion theme. I forgot the game. They had a lot of
Nintendo Land.
Thank you, Nintendo Land. The way you were the ghost and then you were hiding, and then you play with the other characters and they were trying to catch you, and then you can play with the 2 screens. That is a cool way to play. The problem is the only game that really took advantage of that feature was Nintendo Land. No other game really made fun ways to play with the Wii U pad and the system, and that's what hurt the system, in my opinion. Aside from the lack of power, all that stuff, Nintendo has to understand that yes, they keep selling to the kids. They're gonna get that crowd. That's fine, but they can't try to get the hardcore gamer. Why? The next Zelda could be the best Zelda of all time. If you had that power to make it look like a Witcher 3 Caleones. I think that would be, I would make that game sell 15 million. I'm telling you right now. I'm just saying that, imagine that. But that's what I would like to see. Power and keep improving in the different ways that you play with the system. Now your turn.
And I'll say that, okay, so we always have the people that say gameplay over graphics, or graphics over gameplay, or or whatever. But I mean, to your case, Zelda is already a fun game. Zelda already has great gameplay, great mechanics, and if there's a downside, the only downside to Zelda is, like you said, is performance, and that the games can always look better because Nintendo, ever since the GameCube or after the GameCube, they haven't really been the most powerful or the second most powerful system out there in the market. So the games have suffered in a way, or Nintendo has had to compromise in certain ways for them to be able to to graphically be able to show or be close to their vision of the game. So yes, I mean, if they can do right now, I mean, they if they wanted to, they could do it right now with the Nintendo Switch, where they can sell us a dock that that has the additional RAM, the additional power on it. And I mean, not necessarily the CPU, it'll be more the RAM base. So if they have games that are concentrated mainly on the RAM and not on the CPU, then yes, it could definitely take advantage of it. And they could do it right now. But I believe that Nintendo's just going to stay its course with the Switch. They already have, I mean, they have a great thing because they already ended up the first year with the best-selling console ever, doing its first 12 months. And they're still selling good. Now they're getting ready for the second half of 2018. More games are going to be coming out, especially with Smash just around the corner. So they are going to concentrate on getting the games out and getting additional things like the Nintendo Labo and other things that they can supplement the Switch with. But the new Nintendo Switch, or the one that comes after, that is going to be the one where I think of the Switch as, the true what Nintendo was trying to do with the Wii U. Because with the Wii U, it was, even though it was a console that suffered a lot, it was a bad console, but it was a necessary step for Nintendo to be able to go from the Wii over to the Switch. They had to go through the Wii U just so they could understand it better and create their vision. I mean, their vision of what the Switch is right now. But the Switch, I think, is still not, well, not I think, I know it's still not the complete vision that Nintendo has, because of the patents that we've already seen, because of things like, cloud savings, achievements, and things like that that are still not found on the console. So it's still a work in progress, and something that they're trying to to develop and make better. And I believe the next system, which should be either the Switch 2 or something which is still going to be a hybrid system, I believe that is when Nintendo will be able to go all out on creating their full vision of what it is that they want to do. And all these that we're hearing right now about them working on a new console, they always do. Every company does. As soon as they finish one, they're already working on the next one, even if it doesn't come up for another 6, 7, 8 years. But like I said, most importantly, them talking to companies like Venture Fund to create new tech. This is, to me, the biggest news out of all of them, because they're looking ahead on what else not only can Nintendo come up with, but be inspired by other companies and their visions as well, and hopefully create a good marriage in between those visions and something that's going to be amazing. So that's my take on it.
Okay. Thank you, Caleones. Good topic. Good topic. We're both excited. We want to see what Nintendo does next, and I think we both agree. I would like to see Nintendo get back a little bit into the power game. I'm not asking them to be PlayStation 5, Xbox One X, but I'm asking them to be closer to it if possible, right?
Hey, even if they got to cheat their way with a supplemental device, but
I don't care. I would buy this. I would be the first one buying the supplemental device if it gets me a stable Xenoblade Chronicles, right? Or whatever. I'm all for it. I have to admit, I love that game. I love it. That's how much I like Xenoblade. But dude, it did look ugly when that thing got busy and they went out sub HD. You're like, God, I really wish. And it's the same, dude. Every time I play Xenoblade Chronicles, the original on Dolphin, you're like, FUCK. Damn it! I wish the Wii had HD graphics on that era. And you play Mario Galaxy Caleones on Dolphin. You're like, damn, the games have some really good artistic direction. Too bad that it was stuck on the Wii. So,
or what you call the best battle system ever for a JRPG in 60 frames. We can only dream.
And and even I would, agreed. Everything to me is better than 60. But I would have to say that if something I'm willing to sacrifice 30 frames or 60, sorry, would be an RPG. RPG, you don't need to be that, quick and stuff like that. I'm fine with 30, but make it stable 30 and make it stay 1080. That's the only thing I'm asking in this case. But anyway, with that said, let's move on. We're going to touch on a subject. Last week, we had some issues. Again, Caleones was surfing, hanging time dude down in Florida. And so he was trying to call from the hotel, but he had shitty internet. We couldn't get to the subject of Spyro. So we want to touch it again because I think it's an important discussion. And we're going to put the video where we, again, and sorry if you guys saw this again, but, we want to have it for our SoundCloud and iTunes listeners so they know our opinion of Spyro, not as of now, not being announced for the Nintendo Switch. So we'll go to that video. It's only 10 minutes. Guys, enjoy, hang tight, talk in the chat. We'll try to interact a little bit more in the chat while the video goes on. And then when we come back, we're just going to, if we have updated opinions about Spyro still not being announced for the Switch, what opinions we have on that. So I'm going to click it, and we'll go from there. See you on the other side, guys.
Okay, and the next piece of news actually caused a little bit of controversy when it came to, like two gamers and the gaming circle. Before the announcement, and of course we're talking about, the new Spyro trilogy that was announced in the same way as, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. The first 3 Spyro games have gotten the HD treatment and will be releasing this year. But The rumors at first were that it was going to come out on the PlayStation first. It was going to have a 1 year exclusivity, and then it was going to come out for the Xbox One and the Nintendo Switch. I mean, I said to that, I mean, don't believe it, because if it's going to be a 1 year exclusive for Sony, they're not going to announce the Xbox One and Switch versions right away. They're going to wait to make those announcements. And I knew if they were to announce them at the same time, it was because the games were going to be coming out either at the same time or a small window afterwards. So the big news on this one is that yes, Spyro Reignited trilogy has been announced for the PS4 and the Xbox One, and not the Nintendo Switch. Why I say this? Because going back again, Crash Bandicoot, yes, it was a PS4 time exclusive, but it will be on the Switch as alongside the Xbox One version as well. But Spyro looks perfect for the Switch. So, Dantes, does this tell you that they're overlooking the Switch version, that it's not going to come out on the Switch at all, they're going to be waiting? Like, what do you believe is the reasoning why the Switch version hasn't been announced yet?
Okay, so let me talk to two steps. So let me talk first about the exclusivity rumors and stuff like that. I think Activision said, and they were smart, so they said, okay, Activision did not have any faith on their all IPs. Let me put it that way. So Crash kind of was the test bed, but they didn't want to take the plunge alone. So they said, Sony, Crash is really known by PlayStation gamers. Those are the main gamers who grew up with Crash, right? You want Crash? Let's get this done. Let's do this deal. You know what I'm saying? They did the deal, developed Crash, and then boom, Caleones, he became a huge success. I'm like, oh my God, what the hell? This shit keeps selling and selling and selling. I think it was almost like PlayStation top selling game for a lot of months. And that shows you how the power of Crash and nostalgia meant something for PlayStation gamers. So after the exclusivity deal came out, Activision said, of course, now let's bring it to Xbox, let's bring it to Switch. It makes sense, make more sales. Now because Activision knows that nostalgia sells, they don't need to make the deal. Activision has money. They don't need to make the deal that they did with Sony to say, help me produce Crash. Spyro should come out day one on all the systems because it makes sense. You get the more sales from all the systems at the same time. It makes sense. So this, to clarify, this is a multi-platform game. Boom. So I'm done with that. So because it is a multi-platform game, and you know me, Caleones, I hate port begging, but more so I hate port begging when it's for exclusives. Stop port begging Bayonetta 2. It is on the Switch because Nintendo is paying the money. Stop port begging for Spider-Man. Spider-Man is on Sony because Sony was smart and made that deal with Marvel. That is it. There's no round about it. If you want to play those games, you buy the system that it belongs to. But because Spyro is a multi-platform game, Caleones, it does not make sense, and I'll defend my Nintendo brothers on this one. It does not make any sense that this game is not coming to the Switch. Now, before I put, again, the carriage ahead of the horses, there's still rumors that it's still coming. It's just that Nintendo wants to announce it on their own terms, maybe on their own direct. There was even a listing that came out for the UK version of Spyro for the Switch. That may be the case, but at this time, I will say this. If Activision do not put the game at the same time as the Xbox and PlayStation 4 version, that does not make any business sense at all. Because that game has more of a chance of selling better on Nintendo consoles than on the Xbox console. Pure and simple. I'm taking away the PlayStation because Spyro came out on PlayStation 1, and the PlayStation fan base have some love for the Dragon. So I think it will sell fine there. But if you have a choice, Caleones, between the Xbox and the Switch version, who is going to sell more? I'll bet you that the Switch version is the one that is going to sell more. The Xbox gamer don't care about games like that. Look at Super Lucky Tail, even though that game suck. But look at that game. No one care about it, right? The Xbox fan base likes shooters or games by services and all that crap. That's what they like. PUBG, all that stuff. Platform type of games, they don't like those games. So why? Why would Activision do something like that? But again, this rant, I'll swallow it back up If I'm wrong, Activision and Nintendo are just waiting for their time to announce the game, Caleones.
Yeah, and we saw the same thing with Crash and Nintendo because they actually waited to announce Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy for the Nintendo Switch on the Nintendo Direct. So perhaps yes, maybe Nintendo is or Activision is waiting to make the proper announcement on a Nintendo Direct. Maybe there's another one coming out this month or next month. Maybe they're gonna wait until the E3 one so Nintendo can include it on that one as well.
Yep,
well, and I believe another theory could be okay. So Crash came out last year for I think it was in September. I believe
June. It was June.
June. It came out in June for the PS4. I believe the same developers are probably the ones working on the Spyro version and the Spyro HD version. And if you look at the development time, it's probably not too much time, even though they're just recreating the game. So the storyline, the gameplay, and things like that, it's already set. They're only working on HD assets and controls for the most part. But the PlayStation and the Xbox, they're pretty similar when it comes to the same architecture. So if you develop for one, you're pretty much developing for the other one as well. There's not too many changes when it comes to those. When it comes to the Nintendo Switch version, there is some compromises and things that you have to do when compared to those others. So it could also be that yes, they can release all three versions at the same time, but they will have to wait and delay the game longer, to be able to meet all three of them. And what they're doing is releasing the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One version first, and then once they have the Nintendo Switch version ready, releasing that one. I mean, that could be another way to look at it. And this is the glass half full, half empty type. So I'm not ready to bash Activision or say anything negative about them because they're supporting. I mean, they're bringing support to the Nintendo Switch and they're supporting the Nintendo systems. But I believe the game is perfect for the Switch. It's going to be coming out at some point. Hopefully, like you said, it's going to be on the same day as the other consoles. And if not, it's going to be shortly after. But I believe Crash is going to do great. Spyro is going to do great. And Spyro will be on the Nintendo Switch.
So the only thing I don't like is what you said, yeah, they may be optimizing for the Switch and it will come out later. But at this point, Caleones, games need to come out the same date on the Switch as the other consoles. So if you're saying you want to do a Switch version, try to make that game come out first day. Because like it or not, and some people will support Nintendo, they're Nintendo gamers, or they prefer portable. They will wait for their Nintendo version. But you got a lot of people like me, multi-platform gamers, Caleones. We're not going to wait for the Nintendo version. You see what I'm saying? So it does hurt Nintendo waiting for them getting basically the sloppy seconds after it has been released on the other consoles. That's why I'm still going to hold my judgment until Activision announces it. But I do want the game to be released same date as the other consoles, because if I had an opinion, I think Spyro it has more deserving to be on the Switch than the Xbox. So anyway, we're back. What's up, guys? Hopefully you guys enjoyed that discussion that we had about Spyro. Caleones, any thoughts or change of thoughts based on that discussion that we had about Spyro? Do you feel that are you getting a little bit scared that it still hasn't been announced to the Switch as of this time?
Well, I'm still holding out hope that it's going to be the same way, or that they did with the Crash Bandicoot the Insane Trilogy, where they waited until the Nintendo Direct to properly announce it, and just let Nintendo do the announcement because I mean we already know Nintendo Directs, they're watched by millions of people, and it's a great venue for different games and to be known that they're coming over. Even though a game like Crash doesn't necessarily need that additional publicity, but still it's a good way to make an announcement. So hopefully Spyro is going to be the same thing. I do believe Nintendo is going to have another another Direct before E3, where we can expect other announcements and things like that before the main one once E3 comes along. So that's my hope for it.
Okay, in the same boat. Like I said in the rant, I'm gonna give hell to Activision if it doesn't announce it to the Switch, and if it does, I'll stay quiet and give them respect. I'm hopeful that it's gonna get announced. It does not make sense at all for this game not to be on the Switch. But with that said, Caleones, we're done with Reggie's Hot Topics of the Week. And now we're moving to Onuma's News Burst. Need to get the freaking sound effect. Anyway, Caleones, what is the next piece of news on Onuma's News Burst?
Okay, so we have Bethesda talking about the Nintendo Switch. They were talking with online publication Dual Shockers. It was Bethesda's senior vice president of marketing, Pete Hines, and this was over at PAX East last week. So basically about games like Doom, Skyrim, Wolfenstein 2, and how those games, came or are coming over to the console, and what they believe would be, like maybe the next one if they can get their all their next games, coming over to the Switch, as well as the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, or like exactly what they're thinking. So basically, they stated that I don't know. We'll have to see. All of that stuff always comes down to the dev's idea and what we think is a good fit idea-wise and platform-wise. That's always our preference. But in the case of Skyrim and Doom, well, that wasn't possible. He's talking about how it wasn't possible to release the games on the same day on the Switch versus the other, because the games came the year before, so it was not possible at all. In the case of Wolfenstein 2, they needed the extra time to work on the Switch version of the game, so that's why they decided to release the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One versions first, because they wanted to make sure that they have the absolute best game they can possibly make for the Switch. And if you guys have seen, go over to YouTube, look at the gameplay. Wolfenstein 2 is looking great for the Switch. It's playing great, and it seems like everything that they learned from porting over, like Doom, they have applied to Wolfenstein, which is, the motion control, the gyro controls and things like that is already implemented. So that's what they're talking about. They sometimes need additional time to make sure the Switch version is its best possible version. And in those cases, it might help, putting additional times and not necessarily releasing it on the same day. But they're not promising that all the games that they're going to be creating will be on the Switch, but all the games that they believe are fine for the Switch and they can make for the Switch, they will try to do.
Quickly, because it's news burst, we don't talk opinions on this section. Just give you a heads up to the people who don't know what the difference between Numa's news burst and Reggie's hot topics. But just quickly, Bethesda has a team already in place that can keep supporting Nintendo Switch games, and I think that's a benefit that they're gonna have over other developers. Anyway, go ahead to the next piece of news, Caleones.
Okay, so next one is we have the Mega Man X Legacy Collection. It's going to be the Super Nintendo version, and Sega announced that Mega Man X3 will be included in that collection. So good news, Dantes?
Yep, I'm looking forward to it. We'll buy it on the Switch.
Okay, going over to the next one. It is the Federal Trade Commission warns Nintendo on warranty term violations.
And Sony. Both of them got Sony thing too, so yeah.
Yeah. It's from a Nintendo publication, so of course they're going to put Nintendo on the top. But yes, it wasn't just Nintendo; it was Sony as well. And this because both of the companies require that consumers only use first-party products, or else they void their warranty. So something like the docks, how the docks were affecting the systems. This is something that the FTC is looking into, so Nintendo can still honor the system that were faulty because of third-party docks. They're not opening the system or anything. They're just docking it on a new dock. So it should be honored with the warranty. Going over to the next one, we have NIS America says that Nintendo is looking very supportive and are looking to bring more games to the Nintendo Switch. Basically, NIS America, they've enjoyed success with the games. They were talking about how certain games have sold really good on the Switch compared to other consoles, which ties into the other news as well. But so far, they have the SNK hearings. They were talking about, and I quote, we're starting to do more on Nintendo Switch. SNK heroine is not the only one. They support us in a good way. Compared to that, Sony is not friendly with small publishers like us. They just care about big Japanese companies. Also, if we simultaneously release a Switch version and a PS4 version of the same title, currently the sales trend in 2 to 1. Basically, they sell for every 2 games that they sell on the Switch, they sell one on the PS4, which ties over to the next piece of news, which
It was fun because he made that statement and had to like, whoop, swallow it back. But go ahead, Caleones, with the next piece of news.
And the NIS America CEO has apologized for PS4 comments when talking about SNK heroines on Nintendo Switch. Basically, that comment about how the games sell better on Nintendo Switch, and they sell 2-to-1 versus the PS4 versions.
Oh no, he wasn't apologizing for that. He was apologizing for saying Sony's not friendly with small developers. But go ahead.
but yeah, it's he had to take it back because I mean you want to sell your games on as many systems as possible when it comes to third-party companies, and I'm guessing that Sony fans do remember. So he just wanted to make sure that he still loves them and please buy their games.
I'm gonna say something quick on this one. This one's funny. This is what happens when you're the number one dog in town. It is the truth. You have to accept it. Sony's the number one dog in town. You want to sell it. It's over close to 80 million units on the WoW. You want to sell, and Japanese games do sell well on Nintendo. On Sony. But he did make a good point, which was they will sell better on Nintendo because right now the library of the Switch, it is not as big as the PlayStation. That is the truth. You're going to get a chance to sell better on the Switch. And if you look at it at the indies, the other piece that I did wanted to bring in, Caleones, maybe I don't know if you feel the same, is one time Yoshida explained why he did not promote Until Dawn. Big hit, great game, because they have to plan how they're going to spend their promotional money. They have a budget, and they have to pick. And that year, they were picking third-party support more, right? Now, switching back, saying that Nintendo's not friendly to smaller developers, because honestly, Sony doesn't need them right now because they're firing with their first-party support, where Nintendo is really trying to win back the developer because Nintendo, again, many mistakes in the past, which every company does, lost a lot of support. And they're trying to get that back support, right, Caleones? So I think it makes sense of this. But it was an interesting topic. Maybe we should have had it in the hot topics. But I thought it was funny. But at the same time, I also understand his comments. I did not take it personally. Niche games are selling better on the Switch because, to me, of course, they have a smaller library and you have more of a chance to shine. And that's shown with the indie developing right now in the system. So.
Plus, I mean, I'm gonna say it's not just because of the small library, but also because of the portability. The portability gives you the chance of being able to tackle more games that you normally would, just having to wait until getting to the house.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. That's a good point. Yeah.
And games like, for example, like SNK Heroines, or like this guy or whatever, they're not graphically demanding it. They're not God of War where you want to sit down on your sofa and experience it in front of a 4K TV with a PS4 Pro, all the bells and whistles. I mean, those are games that are not, like I said, graphically demanding. So you can take it, portable. You're still going to get the same experience or a similar experience that you would on the TV. So you're not really losing much, but you're still able to finish those games and get more enjoyment because you're going through more games. That's
shout out
my
to
take.
Buttery Super Tuber, just saying hello in the chat. Welcome to the chat. Hopefully you guys have fun. But good point, Caleones. You are completely right. I do agree that the portability has helped sell more games this generation for sure, where in the past Nintendo fans were not buying that much third-party support, outside of the Nintendo games. But yeah, that's a good point. I'll give you that one. And again, like I said, I did not take it bad, but it was still a fun topic to discuss. But go ahead to the next piece of news, Caleones.
Okay, and the next one is, basically Shovel Knight has sold 2 million copies across all platforms, and Jackpot Games, they provided a sales breakdown. So
interesting sales breakdown. That was interesting. I saw that. I was like, wow, interesting. How well it's sold on 3DS. I was like, wow, awesome.
Yes, but I'll say I'll put it this way. So you have the breakdown. Of course, the main one is Windows with 24.4%. Then you have the 3DS with 23.9%, and then it's followed by the Switch with 17.6%. The Wii U is 14.3%, the PS4 9.1%, and then you have the Xbox One, the cross-buy Vita, Mac, and others. So first it came out on Windows, and then the game came over to the 3DS before the other consoles, and it just came out this last year on the Switch. So Of course, it's going to sell more on PC because it was available there first. Yes, it's going to sell pretty well on the 3DS because even though it's not a Nintendo game, but it's a pretty good game.
No, it looks like
and
a
good,
Nintendo game from the
yeah,
NES era. That's what attracted a lot of old school gamers. So
yes, and it's a good platformer as well. And Nintendo fans they're very fond of platforming games. But the surprise is how well it sold on the Switch because it hasn't been available on the Switch as much as as long as the other one. And I believe for the Switch, the breakdown was like 352,000 copies sold on the Switch alone since it came out on the system. So it's pretty impressive. I'm glad that they're selling this well, and hopefully, I mean, they made enough money that they can invest on the next 4, 5, 6 games and continue making games for all consoles, not just for
next one's
for
gonna
the
be
Switch.
16 bits.
Yeah, next one is 16 bits. So they're gonna climb over a little. Okay, so this one, I don't know. Like this is another one of those where yes, it is a news flash, but probably we could probably would have talked more about it if we didn't have the first main topics. But GameStop is confident that Nintendo Switch will continue to perform well throughout the year. And why is it that they're confident? And I quote, "Yeah, I think that's a fair question with Nintendo. We know what happened with the Wii U. I say this is definitely a whole different platform that we saw in the past. We have visibility to the software, so." Last year was a tremendous year for their software as well as hardware. Between Zelda and Mario Odyssey and all the games they had, it really drove a lot of hardware sales as well as software. I think this year, when we look at the slate of titles, many of which haven't been announced yet, this year looks also very, very strong. So that's where I wanted to get. He said many of which haven't been announced yet. So we have the chief executive officer, Mike A. Mahler from GameStop, saying that there's still quite a few titles for Nintendo that that they haven't announced yet. So, any expectations on what those games could be, Dantes?
Don't know. Hopefully that's where E3 comes in. Hopefully they announce some stuff. I know I keep saying it, but I am worried this year. It's not as great as last year. Nintendo just raised the bar too much last year. But this year, it's been a little bit dry, Caleones. We have to admit it. It's been dry the first quarter of this year. But again, that's expected. I mean, you got ebb and flows. You can't be producing 20 games at the same time, so you're gonna have ups and downs on your first party output. And more for me, again, because I'm a multi-console gamer, where I can see the gap more because I only play more the first party games on my Switch, right? So it's been like, oh, and I want my Pikmin and my where the hell's the Pikmin?
And I want to say, like, Dantes finally got his first platinum of the year this past week.
Yeah. I am a Switch game. So I did play a Switch game. Did write the review. I know Caleones at some point is gonna put it in the Shigeru News. So you see that if you want, read it. I think I Am Setsuna was a great game. I'll say good game, not great game. Good game, good RPG. I did get drag a little bit at the end, but it's more because I was doing the plat and you have to grind. If you just go straight to beat it, you're going to have a lot of fun in that game. But yeah, first plat. Now I'm playing Crash, another Switch game in a sense. So I'm going to hopefully have a review for that to put it, help Caleones edit it out later and, put it on Shigeru too. But yeah, I mean, good Nintendo games. They're good Nintendo games. It's just, there's stuff to do. Sweet. I think Crash is gonna be good. I'm missing that awesome first party game, and I know Smash is gonna be it, but Smash not coming until fourth quarter, which I'm just hoping that we get an announcement. And Kirby's not a good first party game. So anyway, but with that said, we'll see what happens. And the GameStop guy probably knows some stuff, insider stuff. So hopefully he's just teasing Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yeah, we have Buttery Super Tuber over here saying that he believes that they're going to add Fortnite and maybe even Roblox to the Nintendo Switch.
Roblox should be there. Good. Fortnite should be easy. I don't if you put it on mobile. It just boggles my mind you haven't put it on the Switch yet. And Dig Sport, yeah, Pikmin is lit, dude. I love Pikmin. Like last Pikmin was really fun. Like the puzzles. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to the next Pikmin. Pikmin always looks good in graphics too. Those games, they tend to look really nice. Again, artistic. direction on the developing side of Nintendo is top notch. You can't. They may not have the power, but the artistic direction is always top notch in their games. So.
Yeah. So moving on to the next one, and we have Mega Man X Legacy Collection
that's a
1
repeat
and 2.
one. Go ahead. I inadvertently put it twice. You can move to the next.
Oh, you put it twice? Well, I mean, but it has. I mean, we haven't talked about the date, so it's going to be July 24.
Okay,
so July 24 is the date that it will be coming out, and it's going to come out to other systems on the same day. So that'll be a good one to gauge where it sells better. I think it's going to sell good on the Switch because most of those games.
Yeah, that one is beautiful, being portable.
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, those games are going to be perfect for the Switch. They'll feel in house, and I'll be getting those as well. I mean, we got Sonic Mania last year when it first came out. We're going to do the same with this one. Well, going over to the next one, Japan. This guy refined coming to the Nintendo Switch. So basically, they're stating that I guess a remaster of the first this guy. Yep. Yeah, the first game is going to be done.
And the good part, the reason I put it, even though it's only being announced in Japan, but all these Gaia games do tend to come in the West, is day to day, baby. That's what I want to see. Day to day, PlayStation 4 and Switch version. So that's good.
Yeah, and I believe this Gaia 5, the one that came out last year on the Switch, it was actually, even though, I mean, let's say if you bought the Japanese version of the game, you had the English text on it included from the first day. So, I mean, hopefully it's going to be the same thing with this one because it's going to come out on July 26th. Maybe if it only comes in Japan, the English text is going to be included as well. So we can download it over here and play it as well for those that love this Gaia series. Moving on to the next one. And this one was a surprise announcement yesterday. Sega Ages has been confirmed for the Nintendo Switch. Basically, Sega Ages is a collection of more than 15 Sega titles that are going to be coming out for the system. Something that they haven't really specified is, I mean, I believe it is a single game with like 15 or more games included in it. Maybe they'll decide to release each one individually, but it's going to be released on the Nintendo eShop, and it is exclusive for the Switch for now. Games that
just quickly to interact here, Butterly Super Tour says, would they add AC or is it not suitable for Nintendo? I'm guessing you're saying Assassin's Creed. They've had Assassin's Creed in the past in the Switch. I mean, Black Flag.
Yeah, they had.
Wasn't the Wii U,
yeah, they had Assassin's Creed 3 and Black Flag. They had both of those.
Yeah, so I think I don't know if the newest one will come because that is not a powerful game, but it is a demanding game. I don't know if the Switch can handle the last Assassin's Creed game. But again, that's why I'm asking Nintendo to really a little bit put more power in the next system. We'll see what happens, but I think it's suitable. Assassin's Creed, a lot of people play it. I'm not a huge fan. I only played the first one and it never won me over. But I know a lot of fans, so hopefully we'll see it. So
we can say Nintendo does have a great relationship with Ubisoft.
Oh, they do.
So
they do.
Yeah. So it would not be surprising if they bring those type of games over.
Yep.
Okay, but yeah, we were talking about Sega Ages, and they already confirmed games like Sonic the Hedgehog, Thunder Force 4, and Phantasy Star are going to be some of the games included in it. They said more than 15 titles, so we'll see. They're gonna as soon as they continue announcing more games for the collection, we'll go ahead and talk about those. But hey, I think it's another collection and games that are perfect for the Switch. That's all we can say.
Yep.
Going over to the next one is Jotun Valhalla Edition. It's going to come over to the Nintendo Switch on April 27th. The game, I mean, graphic-wise, it's more so like a cartoon type game. It's more animated than anything, but the game looks really good. I've seen the gameplay. Game plays well, and it had already been available. I believe on the Wii U, so it's going to be making its way over to the Switch. That's going to be on April 27th. And the last piece of news that we have for today is that Rival Megagon will be coming to the Nintendo Switch this fall. They haven't exactly said when exactly the game will be coming, but it's going to be coming out for the Switch, before the end of this year.
Okay, we're close to the hour mark here, 59 minutes, so at least today we finally had a full show. Last couple of shows, or the first episode 41, we didn't have much, and we almost finished in like 30 minutes. And the episode before that, we finished like in 40. So I'm happy to see we got to the hour mark. But we're done with the news. And now, Caleones, if I wanted to know what is the hottest game coming to our favorite store, which is the store that you want to go to?
It's going to be Shigeru's Supermarket.
Bing. So what's hot on the store today, Caleones?
Okay, so for this one, we have, close. It was almost like 20 games that release on the Switch. We have The Bunker. We have the Super Odero Deluxe, Masters of Anima, Deep Ones, Bomb Slinger, Soul Trick Solar Division, Streets of Red, Devil's Dare Deluxe, Skies of Fury DX, Shelter Generations, Rogue Aces, Regalia of Men and Monarchs Royal Edition, Eternal Edge, Drone Fight, Don't Starve Nintendo Switch Edition, Burly Men at Sea, As Divine Hearts, Neo Geo's Guru Rin, Break Forces Battle, Pirates All Aboard, and what I consider to be the game of the week. And I already did mention it before because to me it's a really important game and one that is gonna sell pretty well, at least in Europe, probably Japan, and in the US, I believe it will as well. It is the Football Manager Touch. And they already did say that, for the Football Manager Touch games, it is the absolute best version of the Touch series for that game. So that one came out of nowhere yesterday. It really, like I said, and when I say it released out of nowhere, it's that it came out of nowhere. There was no announcement, anything else. They just said, hey, game's available, and that was it. So I believe that one, a great surprise, and will be carrying the sales for the Switch, at least when it comes to the football or like quote unquote soccer games.
Okay, that works. I didn't know much of those games, so I'm trust Caleones. Whatever he picks on this week, I'm good to go. But 20 games, kind of a lot of games. Anyway, with that, we're done, Caleones. Look at that, an hour and 1 minute. Nice full show today. Let me put that Xenoblade music to close the show. There we go. Feel hype? Because I'm feeling it. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for coming through and watching the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast, episode 41, the sequel, right here at the Force In Unison gaming channel. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment so you can make this two crazy MS happy. Also remember, hey, go to the description box below, Caleones, right? Because in the description box explains to you how we're going to do every show. Remember, Mondays, Xenoblade Mondays. Not Tuesday anymore. So Wednesday, streaming Wednesdays, where Caleones and Inkling G play a little bit of Splatoon. Saturday, we got the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast. And of course on Sunday, remember Sunday, tomorrow night, we'll be back to do Force In Unison Live, where we discuss all the news in gaming. And tomorrow we got a big show because we're going to talk about God of War and Shenmue. So nice topics tomorrow, Caleones. Also, hey, if you don't want to see ugly faces, Caleones, we got a solution for you. Go to SoundCloud and iTunes and download this podcast for free. Rate us over there so you can show us some love. Also, we have a Facebook page called @Force In Unison Gaming. And finally, and Dantes says finally, go to chiguerosnews.com and give some clicks and love to my boy Caleones. With all that said, thank you again for joining us tonight. Long live Nintendo. Good night, everybody.